Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode here on Forever United TV, another live show bringing you completely up to date with everything that's going on with Manchester United, particularly off the pitch. That's where the hot topics are at the moment. As we all know, if you were tuned in yesterday, you would have seen all of the news breaking regarding Bruno Fernandes. We're going to bring more on that today and why today is so important in terms of the decision on Bruno Fernandes leaving Manchester United or staying. More details in on the Alejandro Garnacho situation and what's happening there. Very important update that came through from Fabrizio Romano last night, which has gone a little bit unseen because of everything that's happening with Bruno Fernandes and possibly Liverpool breaking a British transfer record. I'll add that to it as well. But lots going on with Manchester United elsewhere as well. Today has a bit of extra content on a Saturday, which is a tiny little bit of a surprise, but that is us covering the Ruben Amorim press conference, where we're expecting a lot to come out from Ruben regarding what happens going forward with Manchester United. Some really awkward questions are going to be asked today, and Ruben is going to be I wouldn't want to be Ruben Amorim in that seat, is all I'm saying today. But that is covered today from 1:15 here on Forever United TV as well. We'll bring you that. And obviously we are going to get some very, very quick decisions. There is a time limit on the Bruno Fernandes situation. There is a time limit for Manchester United and Bruno Fernandes to respond to El Hilal. We'll talk about that. But it's not just El Hilal that are in for Bruno Fernandes. There are other European clubs as well. Again, it's gone under the radar because Bruno Fernandes could be, and this is probably a decent headline, but Bruno Fernandes could be earning over 200 grand a day. And I think that kind of top trumps every other bit of news which is going around at the moment. I'm going to cover everything that has gone on besides Bruno Fernandes, but touch on other news regarding Bruno Fernandes. I think that makes sense anyway. But let's get into what is actually happening. We've got a lot of news to update you on regarding Rasmus Højlund as well. Romano also touching on Victor Gyökeres. It ain't over. And that was Romano's words on what is happening there. So we'll get into that. We'll get into all of your comments as well. Try and bring in as much as we can of your input into the show this morning. Happy Bank Holiday weekend, everyone. Big one. Last one of the season in terms of Manchester United playing. Anyone playing for that matter. Premier League finishes today. We know who gets promoted today. This weekend overall. United play tomorrow, not today. Playoff finals are today. Stupid. But yeah, we know who's going to be in the Premier League next season, competing against United in that relegation fight. Shh, don't say that, Adam. Unless we make big changes this summer, we might be, some would say. But yes, we've all refreshed ourselves. We've all got over what has happened the last 3 days. It's been a bit of a mad one. Starting at Wednesday with everything that happened and falling out of Europe completely for next season by losing to Spurs for the 4th time this season. I can't help but say that every time, and it still doesn't resonate and doesn't sink in with me. I cannot handle the fact that we've lost 4 games to Spurs in the season. Through the aftermath of that, the fallout with the players, the backstabbing, whatever's going on, and now we're hearing about the transfer speculation in chunks, let's just say that. Because Garnacho and Bruno Fernandes were the hot topic. And obviously, Bruno Fernandes yesterday, we heard about Al Hilal's bid for Bruno is genuine, it's real. Ben Jacobs has said that it's genuine, so we know it's real. And Manchester United have a deadline till the end of this month to respond, or Bruno does, so they can then approach United and offer us 100 million. We covered all of that yesterday. But what about the other options for Bruno Fernandes? What about the comments that he made that we brought up last night, which everybody looked at and concentrated on the financial side of things and what he said? And those words were, obviously, if the club want to sell me to raise funds to improve the squads, in some terms, that's pretty much what he says. It's like, basically, if the club want to make a decision on me financially, then this is it. It's the way it is. That's football. And that, for me, I think, yeah, fair enough. That's what a lot of people ran off yesterday, and so did I. And that's with El Hilal's bid. It's kind of clear. And I think Bruno already knew about the bid. And obviously, he knew because he was talking to El Hilal. And then that conversation came up after the game and Bruno falling out of Europe with Manchester United. And obviously, he's said what he said. And I made the point last night, and I'll stick by this. If Bruno is actually considering this bid, and if talks are actually still going on, he is considering this bid, then you have to sell him. It's as simple as that. That's my stance on it. No one player is bigger than this football club, and United need the money. But what else? What he did say also, which no one's really picking up on, was he wants to compete for the biggest trophies, and he wants to play and help Manchester United. And that's what brought up the financial comment before. But let's concentrate on the trophy side of things. Now, Bruno Fernandes cannot win anything he hasn't already won, and he cannot compete for the biggest trophies while staying at Manchester United. Facts. We know that United are not in the Champions League next season and cannot compete for the Champions League next season. We also know that Manchester United daren't give Bruno Fernandes another contract on what he's got. So this season coming and the one after are his only chances of picking up major silverware. So Manchester United would have to qualify by making the top 4 next season in the Premier League, which is very unlikely. And then go and challenge in the Champions League the season after, which nobody ever wins through just making it into the Champions League in that first season again. Like, nobody just entering the competition for the first time in, say, a few years goes out and wins it. We know the status quo with the Champions League. It's teams that are settled in competing week in, week out in their own domestic leagues, and obviously are competing in the latter stages of the Champions League. United don't stand a chance. So Bruno can't win anything with Manchester United over the next 2 years of his contract that's left. There's an option to extend it if United wanted, but let's be real. No trophies for Bruno. What about winning trophies elsewhere? Al Hilal, that's the money move. Simple as. And it'll be the club that pushes that one if they want to sell Bruno. Bayern Munich and PSG want Bruno Fernandes. Miguel Delaney has come out and said that there is massive interest in Bruno Fernandes from Bayern Munich and PSG. Now, if you look into the detail, and I did a little bit more reading into this last night, the situation with other big football clubs around Europe right now. For instance, Florian Wirtz going to Liverpool. I covered that on Football Talks last night. That was my video there. Florian Wirtz going Liverpool and not Bayern Munich leaves Bayern Munich with a bit of a hole in terms of what they were going to do and what the plans were for next season. They want a forward. They want another attacking midfielder in, and obviously Florian Wirtz has decided to go to Liverpool. Vitinha is wanted by Real Madrid and is one of their top targets for midfield this summer as well. Whether PSG sell him or not, if they wanted to take Bruno Fernandes in his place, then I don't think the powers that be at PSG would have any sort of issue with that and taking Bruno over to France either. So there are options there, and nothing is set in stone with that. I'm only just mentioning it because that's the way that the land lies at the moment with the European clubs. They're in position and they can bid for Bruno, because they're obviously looking at making major investments themselves already. You're not going to get the £100 million bid that Al Hilal are offering Manchester United for Bruno Fernandes from either Bayern Munich or from PSG, though. That's the thing. I think what is going to happen here is a big decision and a big conversation going on between Manchester United and Bruno Fernandes, I feel. Because right now, with us hearing about this news, about Bruno sweating over this massive contract and making a decision, we're usually about 1 or 2 days behind. So this would have already been thought about. And for me, I looked at Bruno Fernandes' performance over the last couple of games. He's been a million miles off it since the news of Al Hilal's bid coming in and this possible massive blockbuster contract was on the table. He has been off it. He looks like his head has been turned. The joking around in the press conference was a bit unusual for a final. It just seemed a bit strange and a bit weird, the whole environment around Bruno Fernandes going into this through this last week. And I think there is obviously things that are going through his mind that he needs to make a decision on. And I just feel like today in the press conference, I think we're going to get... it's going to be... Ruben hasn't been afraid of saying what he wants to say. He's been very honest, in other words. We've never really had anything but honesty and pure honesty, and sometimes too much honesty from Ruben Amorim in a press conference. Today he's going to say, I'm pretty much certain he wants to keep Bruno Fernandes. But circumstances and nobody knows what the future's going to bring comments and stuff like that, I think, might creep in. If we get anything along the lines of we have to see, we're going to do everything to try and keep Bruno Fernandes at Manchester United comments coming out, then I think Bruno's gone. I think he's gone. I think if them comments come out, I think they're the key sign. Look, if anything is happening or if any decision is very close or as close as to what these reports are saying, Ruben will know. And then you can pick up off the demeanour of Ruben Amorim in the press conference, and then we can start deciding whether or not we feel it looks like something is going on behind the scenes and a decision might already have been made with Bruno, with Ruben Amorim as well. Because I don't see I don't see a world in Manchester United allowing this to drag on that long, and El Hilal won't either. I think ideally Manchester United would love to sell Bruno Fernandes to Al Hilal if Bruno's up for going. I think that in their mind is perfect. And this may not be the perfect scenario for Ruben Amorim. I've said this before. 2 years of Bruno Fernandes is great for Ruben Amorim because that's probably as long as he's going to last. And if he loves him and he thinks he's his leader, then he'll do everything to look after himself. He has to. It's his reputation on the line right now. He's hanging himself out to dry continuously at the moment, and it's getting a little bit embarrassing, and I'm starting to feel sorry for him a bit because I will walk away with no compensation if the club don't want me, if these fans don't want me at this football club. I know what I want to do, and and this is the way that I'm going to play. I'm not going to change. Like, just get on with it, I think, is what we want to happen right now. So I think Manchester United will force Ruben Amorim's hand. The fact that Ruben didn't get any backing in January tells us that he isn't the leading figure at Manchester United. He's come in mid-season, he's thrown away a championship at Sporting, he's in position at Manchester United, he isn't getting backed in January with this team that is failing, and what we heard, them comments about him threatening to leave in January, he still didn't get any backing then, tells me that he is definitely not the key decision maker at Manchester United. He will have a say, and Ineos will back him in words, but backing him in money is what I think is where they will be judged, and what Ruben needs right now. And selling Bruno Fernandes would give Manchester United that financial power to go into the transfer market this summer and really make a significant change in it. So I think today I'll be watching on that press conference. I'll be watching for Bruno's, not so much what he says, but the way he says it, his whole sort of attitude, demeanour and everything in the way that he comes across. And I think that's where we're going to know what the decision is with Bruno. We know that there's a deadline on it anyway. The Club World Cup is round the corner. Manchester United fly out tomorrow night to the tour in Malaysia. So the decision has to be made pretty much, or someone has to know what's happening today or tomorrow. Otherwise, United are out on tour, and it's more days down the line where Bruno could probably get injured in them 2 games, playing in a foreign country on different pitches that are not great, as we know, and have caused issues before. And El Hilal will be like stood there like that. We've got this investment and this full package ready to go here, ready to buy Bruno Fernandes, and United are flying out to Malaysia. I think something has to happen this weekend. I think it's going to be an absolutely huge day today and tomorrow for Manchester United, and the press conference is absolutely huge. I'm fully convinced, and it is only my thoughts and my thoughts alone, that Manchester United never, ever do press conferences on a Saturday. Why has it been moved to a Saturday? I think decisions and a lot of talking was going on at the football club yesterday that pretty much determined. Look, the press conference could have been set for the Saturday anyway. I don't know. It never happens. You played on a Wednesday. You have a press conference on a Friday. Every other Premier League manager has done it. Ruben Amorim press conference tomorrow is very, very strange for me. Very strange. Today, speaking from yesterday. But I just think that conversations are going on right now at Manchester United because they have to. And nobody's picked up on the Malaysia tour. Like, if Bruno Fernandes goes on that tour, then the end of May is gone. And a decision is made. Will Al Hilal want Bruno to be going out on that tour with a chance of injury ahead of the Club World Cup? 2 more games that are unnecessary for them and their massive purchase and commitments. They were looking at this saying, we're putting this money down. We don't want our asset flying off to the other side of the world to play meaningless friendlies where anything can happen. They have committed this money. What Ben Jacobs said last night is that El Hilal have got this money in place. It's ready to go. That's their full commitment and is on the table right now. They don't want him flying out across the world with anything that can happen, like I said. So I think this is why this weekend is absolutely huge for this decision on Bruno Fernandes and what happens with United, Ruben Amorim, the transfers, everything with Ineos. Like, they're going to be judged massively on what happens over this Bruno Fernandes situation, this football club. I've got a poll running right now which has nearly got 1,000 votes already. Will United sell Bruno? It's a simple one. After last night and what's been said, you've slept on it, you've read the news, you've gone into a bit more detail on it. Do you think Bruno will be sold? 89% of you have said yes. United will sell Bruno Fernandes. I'm going to come into the comments section now just to gauge your thoughts. After, like I said, the dust has settled, you've listened to what everybody said, you've listened and read all of the reports, everything's out there, all of the detail. Bruno can be earning over €200,000 a day moving to Al Hilal. I don't care where anybody is in their career, that is head-turning financials that you cannot ignore. And neither can the club when there is 100 million on offer. That, honestly, is staggering money. It is. Ross with a super chat says, if Bruno goes for more than £120 million, I'd call River Plate and get Mastantuono cemented in. Sell him on the project, sell him on playing time, show him Yoro, Ahmad and Chido's progress. Not just that, mate. You made a good point there, Ross. Thanks for the super chat, buddy. That Manchester United can go out and renegotiate a lot of other deals if they wanted to. And this is what I think that this £100 million and saving 40 million in wages of Bruno's contract and what's left of it will give Manchester United. I'll tell you why in a moment. I'll just get through these other super chats and comments. Love Bruno, but stars are the icing on the cake. We don't even have the correct ingredients yet. There's a reason lesser teams keep beating us. It's a very, very good super chat there. I think common sense all over that one. And thank you very much for that, mate. He's been considering his contract for 3 years. It's been on the shelf, and Saudi have been adding 100,000 weekly every season. Bruno being loyal, but he has ambitions. I mean, ambitions aren't in Saudi Arabia. I'm going to say that. They're not. But Bruno Fernandes can go out and compete in the Club World Cup. Bruno Fernandes can earn a lot of money. Bruno Fernandes can still get into the Portugal side if he's playing in the Saudi Pro League. Look at Cristiano Ronaldo. The Saudi Pro League will grow and grow and grow. It will. It will inevitably get bigger and bigger and better. And there's nothing that anybody can do about it. It just is what it is. And this, I feel, is FIFA's and UEFA's way of getting rid of the Super League and that whole format. By introducing the Saudis and the Saudi money, it won't be long before we start seeing the Champions League turn into a competition, whereas the Saudis do come into it. Look, they've already got into FIFA. Saudis pretty much created the Club World Cup with their investment in bringing their teams into this. That's why FIFA are taking no money out of this Club World Cup. Look, they can't sell tickets for it. It is Saudi funded, and there's a big trophy, and there's 100 million quid for the winners of this competition. It's a lot. It's massive. For a couple of weeks, a few weeks tournament to win 100 million quid, that's huge for football clubs right now. The Saudis are coming, and there's nothing we can do about it. They will have an influence on what happens in football, and their Pro League will start to get bigger and bigger because of this. And inevitably, deals like this are always going to come around, and there will be other players. Going into Garnacho right now on this as well. Garnacho is Manchester United, just on the updates from Fabrizio Romano. You can see at the bottom of the stream, Garnacho's gone. He's leaving Manchester United. Romano pretty much making another video on top of a video he did about the situation with Garnacho. His first video said it's likely that Garnacho, after what he said, he's got a good chance of leaving United. The day after, Fabrizio Romano made another video saying that Garnacho is 100% concrete now, looking likely to leave Manchester United. It changed in a day. So we know things have been going on at United. And this is why I said the press conference today is huge. Because you know the media, the last opportunity they have got to speak to Ruben Amorim, the last opportunity they have got before heading into what is the most anticipated and intriguing and worrying transfer window in Manchester United's history, they are going to absolutely batter Ruben today. And I think he's in preparation mode for what's coming and how he answers the questions that are coming his way. Because what Romano said about Garnacho, what's happening with Bruno Fernandes, his whole team is being dissected in front of his eyes and he's powerless to it. He hasn't got a say on it because these players are not going to work under him. We've proven that. It's not going to happen. And right now, I think Ruben Amorim sat there contemplating everything going on. I really do. I think he sat there thinking Bruno Fernandes can leave. Garnacho, gone. See you later. If Mainoo's not going to sign this contract, see you later. I think this is where he's at. His whole career, his whole reputation could be absolutely destroyed by this football club like previous managers before. If he doesn't make a stance now, and make this change, like we said before, then Ruben Amorim is dead at this club. Absolutely dead. And there's some people that will already say he's dead. I get it. I've had these conversations with you over the last 2 days, and you know where I stand with it. You've got your opinion, and you're quite welcome to it. I think there's just that little bit more time that I want to see happen here before I make the same calls again. Because you know I will if things don't get better. I won't accept poor standards, but I want to see him given the same treatments as other managers. And I think he's thinking, Bruno, what can I do? If Ineos are saying that they're going to give me all of this money to spend, we can bring in the players that I want that are going to do what Bruno does, but I may have 3 or 4 of them who are going to work in this system, then bang, I'll go for that. Because all of a sudden, Manchester United's window completely opens up. Garnacho is gone. We have to accept United are looking between 50 and 60 million. I think it'll end up being close to 50 million quid. I think for Garnacho. More on that in a minute. I do want to get a few comments in here as well. We're a Champions League club, whether in it or not, meaning we can't be playing academy kids in hope of revamping our club. We're not a Champions League club, mate. We're not. We haven't been in it for 2 seasons now after this season. And we have to rebuild from being just outside the relegation zone. Look, literally, Manchester United could have been relegated this season. We're not a Champions League club, Charles. Not anymore. In history, we are. Yes. We're like the AC Milan of Italian football. The fallen giant who can't get anywhere near. It's a poorly run football club that has fallen. And they had a massive infrastructure at that football club. United have got a better chance because of the money involved in English football than what AC Milan have. That's simple. We know that and understand that. But what we're looking at here is Manchester United are having to go out, I think, and buy players that fit where we are in the league right now. And that's the difference. How we manage to sell this project to bigger players, well, that's what I'm talking about as being the intriguing factor in this, in going into this summer with Ineos. What are they going to do to attract these players now? What are they going to say? How are they making this happen? Are they going to buckle on the wages again and go straight down the road where Manchester United have fallen before? Adam, I'm old, so I've already seen this irritation of Manchester United, and before Sir Alex was always Man United. This is the default. United fans have been spoilt by Ferguson era and have become entitled. I think a few of the players would fall into that category as well, McFarter, definitely. You got a point on that one there. Peter says, what we can sell with the money we got is 400 million, get 4 experienced players as leaders and build a team of kids around them. Look, there's plenty of hope for Manchester United's academy, but they are going to have to walk into something that has sort of a resemblance of a senior team. It cannot just all be kids. We are a mid-table, low-table club. Time to wake up, says Ant with a super chat. Thank you, buddy. Yep. That is exactly where we are. Thank you for that gifted membership as well, Angry Beaver. If you are the recipient, please make sure you drop a like in or a big thank you in the chat as well, please. Victor Gyökeres, interesting situation with this. Keep your comments coming in on Bruno and on Garnacho, but Victor Gyökeres, from what Romano is saying now, is that this deal is not over. In fact, Fabrizio Romano's words on this were, United remains in the race for Victor Gyökeres despite the Europa League final loss. It may be more complicated financially, but the race is still open. Nothing is decided. That's what Fabrizio Romano was talking to Gimme Sports about in an interview yesterday. And that, I think, is what we have to take from this right now. I said before the final, Manchester United would be in for Victor Gyökeres no matter what. Like, you've got to go in and show what you're willing to do. You've got to go in and sell the project either way. There's a with and there's without a Champions League project at Manchester United. We knew that. And what we're looking at now is the one without, what can Manchester United do? Can we sell Bruno Fernandes, Alejandro Garnacho, have enough money to say to Victor Gyökeres, Victor, if we're not in European football next season, your wages go up to this much next season? If you hit a certain amount of numbers or things like this. Sounds a bit far-fetched and it sounds a bit out there, I know, but there will be deals. You look at Lamine Yamal's contract, which rises year on year on year at the football club. If United are determined to back themselves, they could say to Victor Gyökeres, look, you're on this amount of money. After 2 years, if you're not back in playing in the Champions League with Man United, you can go. You can be sold to somebody else. That might suit Man United as well, because Manchester United would obviously look at Gyökeres right now and say there isn't any sell-on factor after he sees out his full contract. You could say, look, in 2 years, if we're not back in the Champions League, then we won't stand in your way, and we will organise an exit plan if you want to go. Your wages will be at this and that. Like, look, there are ways to do it, but I think it is a lot more difficult, like Fabrizio Romano said with Victor Gyökeres, in getting him out of the door. I think what we're looking at is Manchester United, how willing we are to give players that little bit more incentive. If you sell Bruno, if you sell Casemiro, if you sell Rashford, you sell Sancho, you sell Antony, you get rid of all of them players and the wages that they're on, then this is open for United to work with these contracts. They can make themselves look like an appealing project if they give a get out on these contracts. And that's what I meant by that 2 years, not competing, away you go, no problem, we're not going to stand in your way side of things. That, I think, is what Manchester United will be looking at with players like Gyökeres. That's when you look at it realistically, without even going into the details or listening to experts, what can they offer Victor Gyökeres? It doesn't take a football finance expert or somebody in the know or a level 1, tier 1 journalist to know that Manchester United haven't got much. We've got the club, we've got the history, we've got that commitment to the player. You could be a hero at United and turn this club around. I think that's about it. This is where we're going to be in a certain amount of years. If we're not there, then you can leave. That's it. We failed you. Show us your commitment now, and we will show you our commitment. If we're not where we're going to be, then there's the exit door. You can move on and finish your career elsewhere. That has to be the way that Man United move forward. There's no other way, right? I cannot see how we're going to incentivise anybody to come to United. If Ineos are not going to do what we did before, which is give absolute fortunes to players, then there's nothing we can do for these players. And we're going to have to start finding different options. And what players they are, I don't know. There will be the unknown players, which some people won't have a problem with. This is proper recruitment, a lot of people would say. But yeah, that's where I think Manchester United are, and I think it's the only way out of this. Anyway, quickly, I'm just going to get into some super chats because we have other news to get through as well. I'm going to go for a few more comments as well, so please keep them piling in, everybody. It sucks that we bring so much revenue in and goes to a black hole. The owners abandoned us 20 years ago. The new guy tried Plan A, activate Plan B. Glory, glory, Man United, says Dwayne. Rawls with another one says, guys, we are all upset. We all have different ideas on who to add and subtract. Treat each other with respect. The mods won't tolerate it. Yeah, just be polite is always saying, everybody. I know everyone is uptight and really annoyed and frustrated with what's going on, but try not to take it out on each other, please. Just understand that everyone's got an opinion and it won't always be the same as yours. That's what it's about. Please don't make the mods have to make a decision on blocking you out or anything like that. Please don't do that. Thanks for the super chat, Roz. Chris says, who's a member now 5 months. Thank you for that, Chris. There's no future under the Glazers / Radcliffe sham. Well, that is our future, unfortunately. And that, I think, is what we have to sort of get used to. Or not sort of get used to. Because they ain't going anywhere. Unless somebody comes in and makes them an offer they cannot refuse and comes in with absolutely stupid money that is way above what Manchester United are worth, they're not going anywhere. There was a fleeting story flying around last night about Sheikh Jassim readying an £8 million bid to buy out 100% of the Glazers and Ineos. I can't see it. I can't. I'm just going to keep on binning that idea. There is nothing in it at all. And sadly, we do have to deal with what we've got right now. It really does feel like there is no way forward for United. But we can look to what we've got and hope that Manchester United's football can turn this club around. Because let's be honest, if United were doing well on the pitch, we wouldn't be talking about the ownership model, would we? I've said this many a times before. We wouldn't be. So, yes, that's what needs to happen. The football needs to come first. And that's what we mainly want to be talking about. So, Gyökeres is not dead. Garnacho definitely leaving Manchester United this summer. I just see someone put a comment in there of the list of... I love it when people do this. Because it sounds like you're being unrealistic and just putting out a load of numbers. I'm just trying to find it again now. I've lost it. Sorry. It was a load of player prices I think someone put into the chat a moment ago of everyone who's leaving. You can just go through what we know could possibly happen already. You've got, let's just write them down. You've got 50 million for Garnacho, 100 million for Bruno Fernandes. They're on the table. You want 40 for Rashford, 25 for Sancho. You want 35 for Antony. They're all genuine, ready to go. Manchester United would also sell Rasmus Højlund for 40 million as well. And if you wanted to add to it, you could maybe get 50 million for Mainu if he didn't sign that contract. They're all deals that have been talked about so far. So when you add them together, what have we got? 200, 265, 300, just under 350 million there alone in players that Manchester United could sell this summer. 350 million? There is more than a rebuild there. You've got 2 years worth, near enough, of decent transfer windows with that there. And let's be honest, would you be crying into your sleep if any of them players that I just mentioned on that list left Manchester United this summer? I can tell you the answer to that question without you even coming back to me. That's no, you wouldn't. I know you wouldn't. Performance-related bonuses are a win-win first us. It ensures we are recruiting players who believe in themselves, have the right attitude. Yes, Ant. Thanks again for the super, mate. Offer Gyökeres 1-year contract, simply 1 season. Demo is not showing any commitment, though, is it? It's not. And that, I feel, again, like you could offer Victor Gyökeres a shorter-term contract on decent wages and say, look, there's your exit plan if it doesn't work. If you don't believe in what we're saying right now, there's an option for you to leave there. Look, we know our project, we know where we want to be, and this is how we see us getting there. And we see you being at the forefront of that. If we don't, then you can leave. That's the only way you can make it happen. Manchester United also are willing to take 40 million for Rasmus Højlund. You heard me say that then. There is serious interest in Rasmus Højlund from Italy right now. That Fabrizio Romano, again, is talking about is there. Now, there will be offers on the table. There will be bids on the table that are not of that value. How Manchester United negotiate this, I don't know. There could be something where Manchester United loan with obligation on Rasmus Højlund, where the deal doesn't naturally come in right away. But if you're selling the other players that we just spoke about there, like Bruno's and Garnacho's, Rashford's, Sancho's, Antony's, then you're really not too concerned about collecting all of Rasmus Højlund's money this summer. That, I think, you could easily say. So Manchester United are weighing up options for Rasmus. And this is why Bruno is so massive now. Bruno takes the pressure off every other transfer that's going on at Manchester United, or any potential transfer that's going on at United. Garnacho we know is going to go. So there we can say is a 50 million, 100% profit, which will go a massively long way. Let's not forget, Manchester United are about to bring in 20 million from Alvaro Fernandes, 100% profit. So straight away, Manchester United could be entering a transfer window which gives them 60 million without us even touching any of the big guns in pure profit. Now that is significant on its own when it comes to PSR, because like I said last night, United are not in Europe. We don't deal with financial fair play anymore. We don't compete in any UEFA competitions next season, so financial fair play is off the table. We just have to deal with the Premier League's PSR. So the homegrown player rule, if you're getting money for Alvaro, 20 million, which is reported, with Madrid spend 50 with Benfica, 20 million coming our way. You sell Garnacho for 50, 40 or 50. You got 60 to 70 million there of pure profit from academy players for Manchester United. And you sell Bruno on top of that. That then gives you the room to make bigger decisions. You're not as desperate with the Antony or the Rasmus situation. You don't need to move them players on necessarily at the prices that people are bidding. Apparently Manchester United are ready to take a really low bid on Antony with Real Betis. I don't understand why we're even entertaining that. Antony scored again last night for Real Betis. This man is worth £50 million of anybody's money in La Liga right now. You don't have half a seasons like that and then only get scraping, 30 million for him, which is the report at the moment. You take that club to the cleaners. You say to Betis, not happening. Sell him to Villarreal. Sell him to Atletico Madrid. Someone in La Liga will buy Antony next season. They have seen exactly what he has done there. His numbers are off the scale. They pretty much match his full career numbers at United after 2.5 years. That's how scary Antony's form is at Real Betis. And yeah, you could always argue the level of competition and the level that Antony's playing at in La Liga is different. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It matters to them what that player's doing. So Manchester United should be asking for a minimum, an absolute minimum of 40 million for Antony. I cannot believe we would even think of taking anything less. Would you take Resort instead of Delap for the same 30-40 million? Again, it's a player that we don't know about. But again, these players, Dwayne, thanks to the super, might be players. Welcome to the Members Club demo as well. Love that, buddy. These players might be the ones that Manchester United are going to look at in this transfer window now. That's where we might have to go. There's also news from Romano today that Everton have offered Liam Delap a massive wage. Significant, very important wage package is what Romano has called it. He's spoken directly with David Moyes. He's already spoken to Eddie Howe. We know that Chelsea have made their contacts. And United, I think we're going to lose out on Liam Delap. And some people will say, Adam, we're not losing there then if we don't get Delap. I get what you're saying, but, I mean, come on. Like, if we're going to lose a player like Delap, the worrying signs are there. They really are. And whether that's an English mentality or not, because I'm taking Gyökeres over Delap all day long, as you know. But if Delap turns Man United down, then that tells you exactly where we're at. And that comment before saying that Manchester United are a Champions League club, and no matter where we are, you have to accept it. No, Man United are not a Champions League club. If players like Delap are turning you down, you're not a Champions League club. You're a million miles away from it. If he's actually taken into consideration moving to Everton ahead of Manchester United, if that happens, then it is time to start worrying. It is. Story out from James Ducker of The Telegraph as well, just on Garnacho, bringing you the news as it drops as we're live. Garnacho's representatives are set for talks with Manchester United over the player's future. So these talks are about Garnacho leaving Manchester United. This is an exit plan. So when talks go on, you automatically think, what, is he getting a new contract? Are they trying to sweeten him up? No. This is talks over an exit plan from Manchester United. He is going to be going. There's nobody at Manchester United, going off all the reports, that is going to go out of their way to try and keep Garnacho at Manchester United. That's the story. And obviously I'll keep these comments coming in, these reports coming in, as well as we're live. Thank you, Dwayne, again. Another super chat. If you know you are the last option, get out, find another. Why would Delap go to Everton? He wants Champions League footer. This is the point I'm making, Stephen. Like, that Romano came out with this news. Now, I don't think it'll happen, but can you imagine if it did? If he turns around and says yes to Everton, what are United doing? What are our negotiators doing? This is the concern. Now, Everton are in the race for Delap. That's what Romano has said. I think he will still go to a Champions League or a European football club. And this weekend, obviously tomorrow, we'll find out if Chelsea are in. We'll find out if Newcastle are in. We'll find out if where Nottingham Forest are playing next season. I mean, they've all got European football. They're all guaranteed European football, basically. It just depends what type of European football. So all of them clubs in for Liam Delap are in a better position than what we are right now. Again, what are Man United's negotiators doing? Are they able to try and convince Liam Delap that this is the right way to go? And that's what we've got to think of. Is it down to them to now say to Delap, again, like I said with Gyökeres, like, if we're not in a certain position by this time in your career, there is a get out. We will obviously have a release in your contract at this point where you can be sold to another club. That, I think is going to be in most Manchester United in most Manchester United contracts if new players coming in. Unless you're going for the unknowns, like what the comment just said there in Visa. The situation as well with Emi Martinez, by the way, everybody. Just wanted to touch back on that because you know I've been big on this. Emi Martinez to Manchester United is a real thing and is a real opportunity. Aston Villa, and more of the noises coming out of Aston Villa are all of the same, which are Emi Martinez might be sold this summer, has a good chance of being sold this summer to balance PSR. They must be in a serious situation with PSR. And if they don't make the Champions League, Emi Martinez could be sold. Now, that obviously opens up the Marcus Rashford conversation as well, because if they do make Champions League, maybe they have enough money to pay for Martinez, and maybe they have enough money to take Marcus Rashford. And we all know that Marcus Rashford is happy at Aston Villa right now, and if they've got Champions League football, that meets the criteria of what he wants in the club next season, and maybe we could sell Marcus Rashford to Aston Villa. So tomorrow's football has got a significant bearing on everything that happens going into next week. And just to go over everything that we spoke about so far, I am going to come to loads of your comments next, everybody, as well. So this is your part of the show coming in. I've pretty much covered everything I need to. There is a story about Jack Grealish being a target for Man United. I think we can flush that one down the toilets. I think that ship has sailed a long time ago. Jack Grealish to United, I don't know. I don't think so. Anyway, but yes, Bruno Fernandes' decision coming this weekend. In fact, could come today. Bruno and the Ruben Amorim press conference, which we will cover live here on FUTV United TV later on this afternoon after lunch. So make sure you tuned in for that. It's going to be a really, really interesting one, because obviously the questions are going to be asked regarding Garnacho, going to be asked about Bruno Fernandes. But Bruno Fernandes and the commitment from Al Hilal is there on the table, and we know it, and there is a deadline. But Manchester United fly out tomorrow night to Malaysia after the Aston Villa game to play 2 more games, which will take us through into the end of May. Now that then leaves us with Bruno Fernandes out in the open, possibly for injuries, possibly something could happen, could absolutely tear this transfer up and ruin this whole ordeal, ruin this deal for Al Hilal. So I think they're trying to push for Manchester United to make a decision this weekend. And I think they want Bruno to make his mind up before this season ends, before he flies out. Why would you be wanting that asset to go out on a Malaysia tour all of a sudden, right at the end, just before the Club World Cup? I think that's going to be significant in when we get a decision on what happens with Bruno Fernandes. 100%, I think that is playing on the minds of everybody at United right now. And I don't know if this is why the press conference was delayed till today. I said before, maybe there's a lot of talks going on at United right now, and they need to get all of their ships in order, all their books in order, and everything's aligned in what they come back with in this press conference today. It's going to be a really interesting one. But yeah, there's that. Then with Manchester United talking with Garnacho representatives on his exit plan. He will be sold this summer. Romano coming out and saying the concrete chance that Garnacho leaves now this summer is definitely there. So that's what we're also looking at as well. And what Manchester United do from here, I think, like I said, depends on what happens with Bruno Fernandes as well. If we sell Bruno, if we sell Garnacho, United have room to conjure up some clever contracts for players. Romano's saying that the Gyökeres deal is not dead, but financially it's difficult because of not being in the Champions League. They still are in for him, and nothing has been decided yet. So no story that you hear right now has got any definites to it at all when it comes to Victor Gyökeres. Romano has said that it's going to all be decided after tomorrow. The cup final in Portugal, the end of the Premier League season. Just get this done. Get this weekend out of the way, and I think we're going to get clarity on a whole lot of different situations at Manchester United, particularly the transfer ones anyway. Raws with a super chat. I think Osimhen is more money-driven than a team status-driven. If United clear enough salary, he could play into their hands. He is a proven goal scorer. All depends. 40 million of Bruno's contract left over the next 2 years and 100 million in the bank is significant to making something happen. If you add to that, like I just said, 50 million for Garnacho, 20 million for Alvaro Fernandes, 70 million there of pure profit for homegrown players for Manchester United, on top of Bruno, then selling Rashford, 100% profit, Anthony Sancho, Rasmus, the options then completely open up. Do we want a player who needs that much convincing? It's a good point, Ant. It's a good point. But we know modern day footballers are like this now. We know that they want to get everything set and feel that security for themselves. And I think this is where the likes of Delap are probably at right now. I think United could still get Delap, but I think there's going to have to be a very, very clever contract put on the table. Let's just see. Adam, thanks for that, mate. And Alonso, thank you as well for another super chat. Like Barcelona, with their weird financial levers, do United have some of these? Cheers, Adam. In terms of financial levers, like what Barcelona did in selling all of their rights, TV rights and everything up front to try and fund what's happening there. And don't get me wrong, like Barcelona, when they reopen the new camp, they are about to make massive, massive amounts of money. Like they're in a right hole when it comes to finances, but they're competing at the top. And that's the only thing that will keep them afloat. The fact that they're winning, they've just won the treble, domestic treble in Spain, still in the Champions League. The reopening of the new camp, they've lost a lot of money while having to play in the Olympic Stadium. Selling them rights to cover that period to rebuild the new camp to then take in the finances that the new camp brings in. Wow, they will be bringing in massive, massive amounts of money. And that gamble may actually pay off for Barcelona as long as they stay competitive. But they're being now clever with their contracts. Like I just said, Lamine Yamal and his contract is set at a certain salary now, and then it rises every single year by £1 million over the next 5 years. And then they'll make another decision. So Yamal has got an offer on the table there as the next best thing. And this is what we can afford right now. We brought you through our academy. This is where we're at. But this will go up to this next year, up to that next year, up to that. So you know that you're going to be on at least 5 million more a season by the time this contract ends, and then we'll negotiate a new one on top of that at the end of it. There are ways that contracts can be negotiated these days to get around certain financial restraints, and I think United have to be on top of that, and I think we will be on top of that. I do. This has been one whirlwind of a live show, everybody. There's loads of comments in. Let's get through a few of these now. Cunha is Bruno's replacement. I don't think he is an actual replacement for Bruno Fernandes. I don't think he's the same type of player, but he will be a player that fits into a similar role. Get that. Saeed is in the house as well. We got to be focusing on our rivals around us and what they're doing. Sad reality. We can look at them with envy, I think, mate, can't we, in terms of what they're doing. Cornish made in, if we get the sales of Garnacho, Bruno, Højlund and Arne Bainde, Shaw, etc., we could possibly have somewhere near 400 million to spend. It's been said that Manchester United have got 100 million approximately now without sales. We could easily bump that up with sales of players. We know we're going to be having a car boot sale this summer. And some players will go cheaper than what we want, but some players will go for bigger money, like what we may lose out on Rasmus Højlund or, say, Antony. We will gain in Alvaro Fernandes money coming in. We will gain in Alejandro Garnacho money coming in. But there's a way that you balance it, and it's all about putting the finances together and showing on them PSR books year on year exactly what Manchester United are turning over. United, if they're clever, could start to turn a profit with the amount of sales that we're talking about here. Because it's the wages. It's the wages. You talk about these big figures. If I said to you that if Manchester United sold Bruno Fernandes, Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho and Antony, if I said to you that without any transfer fees would come in at around the £60 million a year in wages bracket saved by this football club, that in PSR terms is even bigger than a transfer fee, because it's a general over the whole space of the year. That's a fee, and that's a wage bill that comes out every year, which is what cripples Manchester United. Somehow it cripples us, because if you look at the squad ratio rule or the wages to revenue ratio rule, which is there, Manchester United are third bottom of the table. So we turn over that much money at this football club. Even our wage bill, which is the third highest in the league, is the third lowest in the Premier League when you go off revenue to wage ratio. So that basically is how much of your revenues you end up forking out on player wages. That percentage. United are third bottom. If we cut that down even more, then you can see how Manchester United can prosper. Yes, revenues are down this season because we're not in Europe. Simple as. Gate receipts, commercial revenues, everything like that. But what Manchester United can cover that with is getting that wage bill down. And let's be honest, you look at Sancho, Rashford, Antony, Casemiro, Lindelof, Eriksen, all of these players' wages that are gone, which is going to accumulate to that 60 to 70 million a year in wages. They're not really offering that much on the pitch right now. We're not going to miss them on the pitch. So United's savings could be absolutely massive just in releasing players and getting rid of the wages, which is crazy. It is. Look, I'm going to wrap up the show there. There is a lot to get through today, and we will be back later on because we have got the press conference coming up. All of them important questions, awkward questions coming Ruben Amorim's way, I will have covered later on from lunchtime, everybody. So stay tuned for that. I'll let you know exactly when it's all going down. We'll be live covering it. So make sure to be there. It is the only real football going on. The playoffs don't start till gone 3 o'clock. So we'll have the press conference and then it's playoff time, isn't it, later on, everyone. So let's look forward to our day. Thank you, everybody. All of the super chats, there's been loads this morning. Dwayne's just dropped another one. Says Shaw's base wage is around 200 to 250. This an academy? Yep, definitely. In terms of the poll that we had up, we've had 2,000 votes on the poll, which is massive. Will United sell Bruno Fernandes? 87% of you have said yes, United will sell Bruno Fernandes this summer. I'm going to end that poll there in a moment. That's mega. Thank you, mods. Yes, don't forget, there is a protest tomorrow as well before the Aston Villa game. So anybody who wants to vent their frustration in order and without going over the top, obviously, like has been said by the 58 group, nobody wants to get arrested, nobody wants to get in trouble, but the fans want to come together and vent their frustrations at this ownership model. After a season like this and what's going on right now, I can see this one being very hostile, but if you want to go and vent and have your say and shout in an organised protest, tomorrow is the time to do it, everybody, before the game, and this will be your last chance before the season ends. I will be there tomorrow, so I will see anybody there at the game. If you are at the protest, if you're at the game, I will see you in and around. And yes, come and say hello if you get a chance. But we've still got business to do today, so I'll see you later on this afternoon. Around about 1 o'clock-ish is when we're going to be doing the press conference, so make sure you're there for that. I think it's going to be a big one later on today. But that is it, everybody. Thank you so much. Mods, excellent job again. Everyone who's got involved, loads of comments. Sorry I've not been able to get through everyone, so please pop them in on the comment section below as well, everybody. Check out all of the links in the description, everybody. We have some specials going on Match Bingo at the moment, which you don't want to miss. Please, everybody, do get involved with the Match Bingo setup that we've got going on right now. There's some one-day special offers that are actually hitting this weekend as well. So what I'm going to do is going to drop you the link in the live chat right now, so you've got it. And then I'll just leave that there for a little bit for you to get onto it. So if you use our code there, our link in the live chat for Match Bingo, then you'll get all the specials. You'll also get an extra bonus given to you as a new subscriber as well as a new member of Match Bingo. So if you deposit £5, you'll get an extra £10 to play the game as well. Please do get involved in that. There are match day sponsors. We'll be doing more on that tomorrow as well in the build up to the Villa game. But just so you're aware, there are some specials going on today as well on Match Bingo. So get on to that, people, as well. Over 400 likes. Absolutely mega. Brilliant. And that is us all finished and wrapped up, people. I will be back later on, like I said. And until then, have a great day. Give the video a like on the way out. Subscribe to Forever United TV. We're on the road to 80k. Almost there, people. Keep them subscribes coming in. Hit the bell notification. You won't